JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6 Stone Ocean has come to its conclusion, and I have seen the whole entire series of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, from Phantom Blood to Stone Ocean. And I might not actually show it on this channel a whole lot, even though my banner actually has JoJo is referencing to JoJo. But other than that, I don't particularly usually have anything on JoJo, mainly just because I don't usually think about covering JoJo on the channel. But why not? So I thought, hey, might as well like get my thoughts, my history with JoJo, and um, what I just my general thoughts. I mainly got this idea because I saw another guy do a video of doing a very similar topic, and I thought, wow, that's really cool. I want to do that. So, yeah. I just wanted to like share like, what's going on with me and JoJo. Um, the very first moment that I've heard about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, um, I would want to say like maybe late 2000s, early 2010s, where there was a reviewer on That Guy with the Glasses, who reviewed the PlayStation 2 game of Golden Wind. And I didn't really care that much about it. I knew that there was like ghosts that like people fought with. That was like just like my main thing that I gathered from it. The only reason why this catched my eye was because this was one of the few reviews that this person did that had actual English inside of it so that I could actually understand it. That was like the only reason why it caught me off guard. Um, and there were like other stuff that this reviewer covered, that like grabbed my attention more. But I'm not going to delve into that. It's just mostly with JoJo. And so I kind of gathered that it's like this weird niche series that just existed. And then like the early 2010s started to roll around, and then JoJo just like exploded. And that's just kind of when like the anime like started to exist. And oh my god, I was so annoyed by all the crazy ass memes from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Um, I know that there was just like Zawaldo. Is that a JoJo reference? Oh yeah, and like Stan musical names. Like I could never grasp onto like why the fuck are people just using like modern pop songs as like this like ghost entity. I could never figure out why people were doing that. And this lasted for like I really don't know, like most of the 2010s. I would say like somewhere between like 2016 2017, I started to like warm up a little bit to JoJo, a little bit. Where I just like really got into the roundabout meme, or the to be continued meme, which mostly I just thought that was like pretty cool. And then one of my personal favorites was the one with Daffy Duck, going like swing music, jazz music, patooey, booblish kiss, and then like roundabout starts playing. It was until 2017 December, which is almost 5 years from now. Uh, a YouTuber known as Super Eye Patch Wolf uploaded a video known as "Why You Should Watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 4: Diamond is Unbreakable." Here was the thing. I didn't know that much about JoJo nor about parts, but like, dang, I really, really liked Super Eye Patch Wolf and his work. So I just like decided to watch it just because it was in my subscriptions feed. And then it all clicked with me. It under I understood what JoJo was. I knew who JoJo was. Oh yeah, I also forgot. My only other experience was that I played, I believe, All-Star Battle. No, not All-Star. I did actually play All-Star Battle. I couldn't understand it. It was Jump Victory Versus, and I bought that just because of One Piece, and I wanted to play as Luffy. And then I knew that there was Jonathan Joestar and Joseph Joestar, and I could never figure out who was JoJo. And so I just put it together. Okay, they're both brothers. So that's just what I kind of guessed. Until I watched Eye Patch Wolf's video and started to like piece together about like how JoJo works, and like this really cool character named Josuke, like he can like fix and repair things, and it's like, oh my god, like they're not just using brawn to solve all the problems. They're using their fucking brains in like such creative ways in order to fight off like these assholes. That's what all the JoJo villains are. That they're assholes, and like mainly I learned that this was like a multi-generational gap or a multi-generational series. And then I just like really wanted to marathon all of Eye Patch Wolf's videos. Not the series itself, just Eye Patch Wolf's videos about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And I think I watched each video twice. I think they're both like I think each one is like 30-20 minutes long each. And yeah, it's like so crazy to me to just like binge watch every single a video of a review series, and then just start off with this review series that I was really into instead of the damn show. So I kind of had a better knowledge of JoJo. And when I brought this up to my coworker, who was like really into anime, and mainly just because like he was like the only person that I could just like talk to during work. He brought up that there was a Stan user that was like a sailor, and that he turned into a monkey. And it's like, oh fuck, this guy's ahead of me because he's already watched part 3. I gotta watch JoJo right now. And I did it the most logical and sensible way possible. I started with part 2. The main reason why I picked part 2 was since I had the whole entire review series like memorized, I knew that part 2 had Joseph Joestar, and Joseph is like such a better upgrade from Jonathan, because like the positive that you have with Phantom Blood is that Dio's a really, really good antagonist, and then Jonathan is just kind of mid. Whereas part 2, you kind of trade off, where Joseph is like one of the best protagonists, and Cars is kind of like the weakest antagonist out of the entire series. At least that's the way that I see it. And so I started off with part 2. Oh yeah, there was also I knew that part 2 handled death a little bit differently. And mainly just because this is brought up in iPatch Wolf's video, but in part one, where a character is dying, Jonathan holds them inside his arms, and then they're like, Jonathan Joestar, this is my last will, and also be sure to be a good boy and stuff. And like the guy dies inside Jonathan's arms, but then like that's not how death works. It's either way slower or way faster than that. So I wanted to see what Araki would have just like made just to see how he specifically handled death in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And yeah, I started watching part 2, and oh my god, Joseph Joestar, like from the very beginning, is like one of the best protagonists that I've ever seen. Not just out of JoJo, but like, oh my god, he is so fucking fun to watch. Like he he is a burst of energy of joy, and like he does not give a shit about like nearly anyone other than himself, but like he's still a good person deep down, and he is just such a fun and lovable asshole all the time. And like once you realize that this is part of his own fighting style to make him also look like a dumbass, holy shit, it just makes Joseph's fighting like so incredibly good. And like when Joseph starts fighting, it starts to become like way more of a mind game rather than brute force, which is also another reason why I skipped part 1. And then like just to see him conquer both a vampire and a pillar man, which by the way, if you don't know about JoJo, pillar man is like a vampire but better. And just to be like with his own cunning and like intelligence, and he is like one of the most fun protagonists to actually hear of in like all time. And like not only that, but this character was written in the 1980s, which like is insane to me. Because, like, you would just think, like, oh, okay, they're probably, like, a good boy that could, like, defeat anything just by punching it harder. But no, Joseph has to, like, conquer every single one of them just by, like, dumb luck or, like, his own brains. And it's, like, so cool to see. And then one of my favorite moments in all of JoJo, like, the moment that got me hooked was when Caesar Zeppeli gets introduced. Granted, I didn't know... I knew that there was a connection between Joseph and Caesar. I don't know whether or not I knew about his grandfather and the life that he went through, nor do I know about Jonathan's life. But when Caesar started fighting Joseph, there is one particular line that always struck with me, and that is that Joseph's Haman is incredibly weak. Like, it can't even, like, beat anything. And the only way that he actually won against a vampire and a pillar man is just because of blind luck. Nothing else. And it's like, holy shit. This guy who we have never seen lose a fight before. Oh my god, I forgot about one of the greatest things about Joseph. But this guy that we never seen lose a fight against. No man, both living and undead, could never even defeat him. And to him, being beaten up by this one guy, and then just be told that his shit is fucking weak. Oh my god. I really cannot wait to see the growth of this character. And you do in good old JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Battle Tendency. Another thing that I also forgot about trying to experience Battle Tendency. And like Joseph's catchphrase where it's like his signature actually is like your next line is, and then he repeats the thing. He's going to say the thing that the person says, and the person just says the thing without even noticing that they're not going to say the thing. And it's just like, holy shit, he's like reading them like a fucking book. It's so fucking cool. And then, oh my god, like Joseph is so fucking awesome. Um, and then like seeing him go through like this whole entire journey, a bizarre adventure, if you will, and like seeing the other Pillarmen and like the amount of like graphic that the Pillarmen can be. Meanwhile, Joseph is just like fucking messing around with fucking clackers and smacking himself inside the head just by being a dumbass. It is incredible just to see like Joseph like be able to come to the top and be able to conquer each one of those Pillarmen and see where what would happen next in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And once I finished part 2, I kind of like closed the book and then thought, you know what? This was a really, really good series. I thought, this is cool. This is awesome. And then I just never touched the series for like, I don't know, maybe a month. Um, I thought that the series itself was like really good, but like not exactly life changing, if you would say. Um, and then I started playing Town of Salem, and I just gave my character's name Joseph, and then there was a guy named Jonathan, and like he was a JoJo fan, and he was like, "Dude," I was like, "Okay, I've only seen part 2," and he's like, "Dude, you got to watch part 1." It's like, okay. Which, by the way, watching part 2, for making that one your first one, is a little bit. You kind of have to go out of your way, because it's not just like, oh, I'm just gonna watch the series. It's, I'm gonna watch the first part, but then I'm just gonna skip a couple of episodes, like skip the first 9 episodes, and then watch the rest. And it's just like, I really did not want to watch part 1 when I first started. But once I did, yeah, I enjoyed myself. It was kind of nice to see. Um, I kind of like, one of my main issues with recommending JoJo is that you kind of have to recommend part 1. The problem is that you keep on saying like JoJo is like the greatest anime of all time. It is. Part 1 is kind of mid. Um, I really, Jonathan is just an alright character. Speedwagon is both underutilized and kind of annoying. All the other characters are about as flat as they can possibly be. The exception of one fucking character, and that's Dio himself. Dio is like one is like such an incredible villain. And he was made in 1987. He is like so evil, so conniving, that he would want to like destroy, like he is so hell bent of destroying the Joestar bloodline as much as possible, or like just killing Jonathan, just because like he believes in like the whole entire class warfare, while also at the same time he's just fucking evil. He doesn't give a shit. And like, so I watched the dub. I have watched the dub for like pretty much most of the parts of JoJo. Patrick Says plays Dio so fucking amazingly well. Like, it is one of the most beautiful and evil voices that I have ever heard of. And like, coming from Dio, oh my god, that is just like an amazing combination of like how truly evil and powerful this person can truly be. and this dude's a motherfucking vampire. Um. So yeah, Dio, pretty damn cool. Also the middle, kind of my issues with part one, is that the middle, not the best. It is kind of, from what I remember, episodes 4 through 8 are kind of just like not the best. Well, episodes 1 through 3 and 9 are all like really good, so less than half of them are like really good today. But yeah, you never know if you don't know. So yeah, just a heads up, if you're watching part one, let it be known it's kind of mid. uh, the only exception, Dio is really cool. I like him. I want to see more of him. And wouldn't you know it, um, part three was still around. Um, so like as I mentioned before, it took me like a month to get from part two to part one. It took me about, I want to say, less than 5 minutes to get from part one to part three. And the moment that I saw, I believe it's the Tokyo Eiffel Tower. I'm not really sure what that land structure is. I knew I was really going to enjoy this. And like, I knew that stands were going to be a thing, and that there were going to be like a completely different shift. I did not know that it was going to be like very similar to like Monster of the Week, or like just kind of like a much more episodic series, because in JoJo it's just kind of like part one is just kind of like uh Jonathan has to fight Dio inside his own mansion and like try to stop him from killing his own daddy. And then pretty much episodes 4 through 8 are just him going on an adventure and then dealing with the two zombies that are presented in front of him, and then taking care of them, and then going to Dio and then killing Dio. Um, but then part two kind of does the exact same thing. Part three is just kind of like Jotaro's on an adventure. Boom, stand user. 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 Yeah, that's pretty much it. Um, and I know that like getting through like mostly through like eye patches lens, mostly just because like you know that Jotaro is just like this really cool guy that apparent that like surprisingly Clint Eastwood actually enjoys. And like you know that Jotaro becomes like a much more better person. And yeah, seeing that as time goes on, I think it was really cool to see Jotaro just be a little bit better and also have a punching ghost. um, Meanwhile, seeing Joseph, I kind of feel like a little bit mixed of Joseph in part three, mainly just because I think he got a little bit downgraded. I do think that he is fun, but like I don't think he's like best character fun, if you catch my drift. Avdol is a character that just exists. Unfortunately, that's the most that I can say about Avdol. Kakuin, I really would have liked it if Kakuin would have been a better character. It just really sucks that like he also just gets written out halfway through the story, and he's just kind of fine. I really, really would have liked it if Kakuin would have been improved as a character. Iggy, he wasn't in half the story until like recently, until like the later half, and like, um, he just kind of becomes like only useful for like 2 fights, and that's about it. But then there's fucking Palmareff. This fucking dumbass has like one of the best stands ever, and yet he is just this lovable fucking dumb oaf that is just like so fucking chill and relatable, and yet he's just like, again, he has like one of the best stands. I forgot to mention about the stands, mainly just because I feel like each character in JoJo, mainly part three, usually focuses onto like one of the six stats, and since there are six Crusaders, I think they're mainly supposed to focus. I don't know each stat personally, but I feel like Jotaro would be power, Polnareff is speed, uh, Kakyoin is definitely range, Iggy would be defense. I think Avdol is precision and Joseph is growth potential, even though that I don't think Hermit Purple is really that growth potential. But like it's also really cool with like scene stands because like with Haman, you just got to be like a guy that's just like really good at like channeling Haman, and like that's pretty much it. But like stands, you could just be an animal, you could be a plant, you could be like any type of animal. You can even be Palmaref, and you can still get a fucking stand. Um, and yeah, that just opens up to like way more creative possibilities. And even though that in part three, Araki just kind of makes them like very standard superpowers, like Whole Horse is just a gun that just moves. Uh, Polnareff is just sword guy. Jotaro is punch guy. Avdol is just shooting fire, and that is just kinda it. Um, but you do see what it could be like later on throughout the series, because then you get something like Cream, which can just like create an invisible barrier that can just like send people to an alternate dimension known as the Void, where everything just gets erased, and and there is no physical possible way to actually hit the guy because of the fucking barrier that sends things to the Void. And it's just like, holy shit, this guy is insanely powerful. And he's not even the main fucking villain. What the fuck? And it's just like seeing Dio again for like, to me, it was just like a few minutes. Granted, I should have also mentioned that while I was watching the dub, um, strangely enough, in 2018 they started doing the dub of part three. I think what happened is that in 2015, they started doing the dub on April Fool's Day of all days, which they actually did give out the dub. And then they just stopped after 3 episodes. And then decided to pick it up in 2018, 3 years later. Which, thankfully, I didn't have to go through. I just had to wait for more JoJo. And, mainly, like, I did have to, like, wait through each single week. I experienced fucking JoJo Sunday just by waiting for each episode to come out. And oh my god, it was like such a really amazing feeling just by seeing every single episode of JoJo just pan out every single time. Also, I thought that was also, while I was watching JoJo, I thought that was kind of weird that part 3 wasn't the one that had Roundabout. It was just part 1 and 2 that had Roundabout. They just had Walk Like an Egyptian, which is kind of weird. You think the one that's like much more famous gets synonymous with the song that like came with the meme, but hey, what are you gonna do? But yeah, seeing Dio after all this time, and like mostly, I also forgot to mention that another thing that I knew about JoJo was the video game Heritage of the Future, and that's just kind of what I knew, is that Dio throws a steamroller at someone and then he goes re. But then, like, seeing it in the anime for, like, the very first time, it's just, like, so earned that, like, you managed to go through all of this, like, um, y- you went through like 80 plus episodes, and to finally see that moment for like the very first time, it it's just like so incredible. Also, the fight that Dio is in is just like one of the best fights in all of JoJo. Like, it is so amazing to like see this whole entire three-part showdown of what seems to be like an incredibly invincible stand, even though we all kind of knew the answer to what Dio's stand could do, but like just seeing it for like the very first time and seeing how each character can like piece together what could happen next is just like so mind-blowing. And when it all ends, you you don't really know where to go, except for me. Uh, you don't really know because part 4 exists. And meanwhile, while I was watching part 4, part 3, I decided to give a little bit of a sneak peek of part 4 because I really, really wanted to watch part 4. It's like that I snuck in to see my Christmas present just to see if it was good or not. Um, so yeah, I watched like the first 5 episodes of part 4, and then for whatever reason, around this time, I think the dub of part 4 just got announced. So like, I really just had to like wait until they finished off part 3, and then next week they just dubbed part 4 and then started releasing each episode weekly. So that was like really, really cool to see. Um and like even at the same time, I even made like my own parody of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I know that I made a video of it. I privated it, but I don't know if the world is ready to see that, and also I don't think I want to upload it. But hey, who knows? Who will know? Maybe one day, or maybe not. Who can say? Um. So yeah, with part 4, the part that got me excited to get into JoJo, like that was one of the best feelings to like finally get into part 4 and like seeing Josuke for like the very first time. Josuke is like hands down one of my favorite characters of all time. Just because like he's this chill person that just wants to relax. He just wants to relax. He wants to make money. He wants to con people. But like he is a loving person that has like this immense amount of rage inside of him whenever someone disses his own hair. And so he would like beat up anyone, heal them, beat them up again, and then heal them again. Just so just so that they would learn their lesson, just so that he could beat them up more. And like just like having his own bond with his own hair, even though it's like halfway used, like that is just like mainly with like why he cares about his own hair. You just think that it's like a funny little quirk, but then you start to realize that Josuke's hair means a whole lot more to him. Like it's a part of him. And yeah, I really do love seeing Josuke just being a chill guy and also being angry. And also there is his stand, Crazy Diamond. Hands down, my favorite stand in all of JoJo. Like, there is not a single stand that I think would be even better than Crazy Diamond. Just by like the idea that you can repair anyone, heal anyone, and the only drawback is diseases, and you can't heal yourself, and you can't bring the dead back to life. Those are the main drawbacks. But like being able to heal someone just like that with like no consequence whatsoever, that would be like so incredible. And to like repair any single object, that could like be so helpful and so useful in no matter what scenario that you're dealing with. Like, that is just amazing. And I would so want that stand in real life. It's not only good for defensive, but it's also good for offensive. And now we also go on to like the next stand with Okuyasu and the hand, which is not only that it's an incredibly destructive stand that can like swipe with one swipe of his right hand, it can erase anything from existence, which is very similar to like Vanilla Ice, who had that fucking stand Cream that could just erase things out of existence into the void. Araki gave one of the most powerful stands that he had so far and gave it to like the second guy. The second guy in like all of part 4. What the fuck? And like the only handicap is that Okuyasu is fucking stupid. And I love seeing Okuyasu being a fucking moron. One thing that I love about JoJo, one thing that I really, really love about JoJo is that even though I really do enjoy the smart characters, the dumb characters are like some of the best characters in the entire franchise. Like, I love seeing the dumb characters. They are so fun and likable. Just like experiencing that throughout all of JoJo, there are so fun people to just be around and chill out and relax with. And then there's also Koichi, who like doesn't even get a like, he's just a normal guy from the beginning. And like when he gets shot with the arrow, by the way, if you didn't know, you get a stand in JoJo if you get shot by an arrow, and then if you get like sparkles and shit, you get a stand and your wound gets healed. But if you don't, you die. Koichi was about to die because he was so fucking boring. But then when Josuke was able to heal him, he was able to get a stand, but it was a stand not like anything other, because it was a stand that could actually evolve with Koichi. Like, holy shit. There's a new way of evolution in JoJo where Koichi can also be like Koichi can also be like his own main character of like from his perspective. And like it takes all the way until like the end for like Jotaro to actually respect Koichi. By the way, Jotaro's in this part. Like just for Koichi's respect, not Josuke's respect, Koichi's respect, which he admires the most. He admires Koichi, this random fucking kid that he just saw. This random high school kid that is like the size of his knee. Where like, and they're all just trying to find this one serial killer on all of Morio, which by the way is strangely enough like Persona 4, which I was a huge fan at the time. And like I don't even know how long this video is. It's just like, and like this and like seeing Kira for like the very first time, I was like absolutely shocked because I was so surprised to finally see Kira. Like I really, really was hyped up because like once Kira made onto the scene, like you know all hell is gonna break loose, where he can just touch a single object and he could turn that into a bomb. And he can kill anyone in his whole entire life. All with his one main motivation of what he wants in life is to just have a nice and quiet life. Just to live in peace and chill out and relax. The only problem is that he really, really, really loves hands of women, and that just motivates his urge to kill people. It's like so fucked up. And you really want to see this man get the worst of him. And once you do, just seeing that final conclusion where like the whole entire gang gangs up together and then defeats Kira once. I feel like I accidentally spoiled a little bit, but once like the climax of like part 4 happens, it's like all that stuff that's like building up together, and it just makes it like so much better. One thing that I also should mention about part 4 is that I really do love seeing like characters come back like each time, because like in part 3, it was just kind of like they meet a stand user, they punch him, they're either dead or in the hospital, and they don't usually come back. I think the only one that actually came back, or two that came back, was Whole Horse and Boingo. And even then, once they got into the hospital, like that was just kind of it. Uh, they really don't do much. I mean, Whole Horse, he shows up in one fight, he just becomes like another victim. The other time he comes back, he's just kind of like his own main villain. Boingo is just kind of ignored. I don't even think the Stardust Crusaders even knew who Boingo was, rather than like they never knew about Oingo and Boingo, so they don't really care. But like in part 4, each time that they meet a stand user, that's just like some guy, and like they can like share their own stands to like help out with each other. Like there's this one part where Josuke is just cheating in a game with Rohan, and then they get a guy with a lock that can just like detect grief in people, which was just some random guy who was just like mooching off of Koichi. And even then, Rohan is just this guy that Koichi just wanted to meet, just because he also met another guy that was also trying to kill them. And even then, Okuyasu was a guy that was just trying to kill Josuke and Koichi. Yeah, so it's like seeing this whole entire community of people just like gather up and like being able to defeat Kira once and for all. And like that ending of part 4 is just like so beautiful. I didn't even mention the music. I didn't even mention the fucking theme songs. Like, Great Days is like, holy shit, that is one of my favorite anime intros. I just feel like that I'm just like saying, yeah, this part of JoJo, I fucking love it. Next thing. But it really is. I really, really do love Great Days so much. And, oh my god, that ending of part 4, like, oh my, it is really, really good. Like, go watch JoJo Part 4. If you can watch any part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I would say Part 4. I would also give the recommendation, if you want to watch one episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, it's the episode known as Let's Go Eat Italian Food. I don't know specifically which number that is, but that is in Part 4 as well. So go watch that one. If not, watch the whole entire part of Part 4. It is really, really fucking good. I love it so much. And then part 5 happens. Excuse me. Part 5 happens. So while part 4 was being dubbed, part 5 got announced. It got trailers. It was also being subbed around at the same time. I don't know when exactly part 5 was being subbed while part 4 was done. I know that I was getting 2 JoJo's at this same time, so a bit of the 2 stories were like overlapping with each other, so I also had to wait like 1 week to like just get a new episode of JoJo and followed by another episode of JoJo. Part 5 Golden Wind. Yeah. It was really good. Not as good as part 4 though. Where this time you're following around Dio's son, Giorno Giovanna, in the year 2001, and yeah, he's climbing up the ranks to become the next mafia boss, and I think he is really cool. I do have a little bit of criticisms about part 5, mostly because I think most of the characters feel kind of flat. I knew while watching the sub, I kind of had a little bit of hard distinction telling the difference between Fugo and Abakio, which is not a good sign because they look completely different and have different personalities. Um, and like watching part five, it mainly just because like one thing that I will say about part five that was like really really amazing was like the stands. They are like insanely creative. Like Giorno can just like create plants and animals out of any single object, while Bruno can just put a zipper onto anything and like it's treated as fabric. And like then there's like my favorite character. My second favorite character in all of part five was Narancha, where he has Aerosmith, which is just like this little tiny airplane that can just shoot out like physical bullets and stuff and like actual bullets and bombs. And I like, oh my god, this is just like so insanely creative. It's better than fucking Punching Ghost that we got for like the 50th time. And like it really is like so fun. I don't know what else to say. Like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, it's a fun series, and not only that, but it also comes with a carbon dioxide detector. Yeah, that's what you get with watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. You get a carbon dioxide detector, not Aerosmith. But one other thing that I really do love, this is just a personal story, is that I remember asking my dad one day about like what stand would he want in JoJo. And it just so happens that out of all the musical inspirations that he picked, out of anything, he picked Purple Haze. And I was like, oh my god. He got an actual stand in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure with Purple Haze in existing. And I just really do love Purple Haze. Like, it is this insanely deadly virus. Oh no. It's this insanely deadly stand that has a virus inside of it. It's completely dangerous and reckless. With Fugo, who is also dangerous and reckless. But like he actually is smart enough to like keep it under control. But for how long? And it's really unfortunate that Purple Haze only got one fight throughout the whole entire series, and even then, like, he was just kind of like the first victim. So yeah, I just really would have liked it if there was Purple Haze. I know that there's Purple Haze feedback. I unfortunately have not read it yet. Call myself JoJo. No, but yeah, I just really do like seeing Purple Haze. Moody Blues, also cool too. Yeah, Moody Blues, that was a stand that existed. It was cool. So yeah, another one of my favorite characters, my favorite character in all time in all of Part 5, was Coco Jumbo. Coco Jumbo, it's just a turtle. That's it. He does have a stand that like can create like a little room for like anyone to just be like transported to. Like, that's really cool. I just like the fact that he's just a turtle. He doesn't have a personality. He's just he's just a turtle. He doesn't talk. He doesn't do anything. He's a fucking turtle. I fucking love him. I don't know whether or not he's dead or not. You see? So yeah. One other thing that I really, really do love about Part 5 is Le Squadra, where the whole entire series is about trying to uncover the boss's identity, while Le Squadra, on the other hand, is still also trying to find the boss's identity, and they're also the Hitman team. And each one of them has like their own distinctive personalities to like set them apart from each other, except kind of Eluzio. I think Eluzio's just kind of meh, but like Formaggio, he's a chill back guy. Pesci and Prosciutto, where like Pesci is like this insanely weak, pathetic guy, and Prosciutto is like this hard-boiled criminal that has like seen it all. And the fact that like Prosciutto actually cares about Pesci, despite Pesci being like this pathetic loser. Oh my god. Yeah, Pesci and Prosciutto, best characters in all of Part 5. Best villains in all of Part 5. I love seeing Pesci and Prosciutto. Um, Malone being a fucking creep. Uh, Ghiaccio being like this insane, unhinged person that like will fucking lose it over like the most mundane things. And just like him looking like the angry video game nerd is so fucking weird. And then there's Risotto, who's like cool, calm, and collective, and he's the leader of the bunch. You know him well. He's finally back to kick some tail. And yeah, I really, really do like this part, especially the fact that it takes place in Italy, which I want it to be real. And yeah, when Part 5 ended, it was really weird. Like, I completed it. I got everything that I was to ever to experience from JoJo. Like, from the animation. I could have read the manga any single time. I didn't. Mainly just because I really wanted to experience the anime for like what it truly is. I know that reading the manga would be a much more better choice sometimes, especially with Stone Ocean, which I'll get to later. And yeah, I would have to wait for Stone Ocean to come out, and that was a very, very long wait. I also forgot to mention about with the intros, mainly just because while we're while we're in this perpetual wait time, the intros, I really do like how that they change along with the narrative, which like that might happen sometimes, and just like they'll drastically change the songs to like fit whatever villain's power is in that arc, and it's just like it just like takes you like completely off guard, and then you see like the rest. Oh my god. I really do love seeing people's reactions to like seeing the theme songs to like each of the JoJo's. Unfortunately, though, a lot of people don't know what JoJo is or who JoJo is, and then they also think that Part 4 is filler arc. I don't know why people think this way. So yeah, we had to wait, I believe, 2019 to 2021 in December just to see Stone Ocean for like the very first time. I wasn't there for the announcements. I didn't see the PNG. I didn't see like all the cover art and all that jazz. I just mostly waited just to like see JoJo, and I did. I thought it was all right. Not the best. One thing that I could definitely say that I really did hate about the Part 6 anime was Whitesnake being CG. I don't know why they made Whitesnake CG. Other than, like, they were probably crunched by Netflix, which is absolutely horrible. And, yeah, I thought the stands were, like, pretty alright. I don't know whether or not I was, like, constantly told that Part 6 was, like, a really, really bad part. I was also told that Part 5 was bad, but then, like, I thought it was really good. Part 6, I don't think it's the worst. I don't think it's, like, the best either. It's just kind of there. It kind of started to make me lose interest until Whitesnake actually showed up. You know, the thing that I hated that was in CG, that thing. And it started to like pick up a little bit pace, and then the main villain, Father Pucci, started showing up, and it was really great seeing a villain who was actually like not only threatening but also like can also be in danger along with Jolene as well. And I think that's just like I really do hope that like with Part 7 they can still do that in the future. I don't know what Part 7 has. I I know a lot of stuff about Part 7. I don't know what, like, if Diego becomes like kind of like similar to Poochie, while like another villain becomes much more like Dio, because unfortunately with like earlier parts, Dio was just kind of there until the final battle, and like seeing Poochie in the foreground is just like way more interesting and way more compelling. And seeing him like when he's worried or when he's like in a dire situation, he has to count prime numbers just to just to like calm his nerves down. And yeah, I really do like that. Um, yeah, I also think that Jolene Stonefree, pretty all right. Uh, Gwess is definitely a better character. I really would have liked if Gwess would have been used outside of like her first fight. Thankfully, though, the anime gave her like way more attention. Um, Hermes's kiss, pretty creative stand. Kind of weird that it's not just a sticker, but it also has its own physical form. But whatever. Uh, Foo Fighters, I think, is like a really, really good arc. I really did enjoy the Foo Fighters arc. And I think the stand itself is really cool. I don't really care that much for Foo Fighters. I love her design so much, though. But I just think that her character's alright. I don't know if it was the anime or like the English dub. It could have been anything. But I just thought that she was just an alright character. Emporio, I don't care for. But damn, Anasui is like so fucking fun. Even though I think his stand is also alright. Diver down, just phases through objects. Even though stands phase through objects, still think that's weird. But thankfully, though, there's like it can also take shocks. It can like it can absorb shocks. So like it's also good for defending. I think Anasui is like insanely funny. I really, really do like his pursuit of like trying to impress Jolene, while at the exact same time he never once asked her out. He puts a fucking ring on her, and like he doesn't even mention that he wants to marry her. So then Jolene just throws it at an alligator, not knowing that she had a ring on her finger. Like, Anasui, you fucking loser. Oh yeah, there was also a weather report. I thought his stand was really cool. Uh, I think him himself is also interesting. But yeah. And then there was that ending. I'm not gonna mention what that ending was, but like, holy shit. So yeah, there we go. That is mostly how I feel about like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It is a very, very bizarre adventure, and it is almost 1 hour long. I did not know about that. So, if you're interested in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I hope that this video was able to like, I don't know, get you to talk about JoJo more. Or if you don't know about JoJo, maybe watch the series, maybe watch the anime. Just let it be known. Part 1 is very mid. And yeah, so I hope to see you again next time. Also, by the way, the character themes in Part 5 were also really cool. I really, really check them out. They're really cool. Yeah. So yeah, those are pretty much all my thoughts about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I kid you not, it was just me being like, "Oh yeah, this thing is cool and that thing is cool." So, yeah, with it was just a whole bunch of ramblings. But yeah, this whole entire series that I first had no idea what it even was, and I thought it was just straight up annoying, is a series that made me ramble on for about almost an hour about how much I love it. So, yeah, you never really think about it like that, and mostly with me, it's just like I've been able to create a couple of JoJo memes here and there. And I really did have like really great conversations with people talking about JoJo. There's also copyright names, which is just like one of my favorite things about JoJo ever. Even though I didn't go in depth in depth of it at all, but like Deadly Queen. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you like JoJo, I don't really know where I was going with this, but like, if you like JoJo, then maybe make your own video, maybe even better, or maybe if you don't like JoJo, do something with like another series. But yeah, I knew that I was gonna end it on the other note, but I'm also ending on this note. So yeah, so see you next time.